Good morning. Welcome to our January, getting way ahead of myself, aren't I? November 24th meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so this morning we started off at 8 o'clock with two closed sessions and have nothing to report, no action taken on either closed session. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. At least that's the way I got it. And so we're going to move on to public comment. Any item of interest to the public that is within subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas may be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. In public comment, if public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted time period, the board may immediately move to regular agenda. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued at the conclusion of the consent agenda in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of the comments to be heard. So, do I have public comments, please?
No, we don't have a sign.
Tom Infacino, Calaveras Planning Coalition. Today, I am delivering to Planning Director Maurer a formal written request for a copy of the general plan produced by Mintier Harnish and delivered to the county between December 2010 and February 2011. My past informal requests have been denied. There are 3 reasons I am confident that you supervisors will direct your staff to grant this formal written request. First, the Constitution of the State of California says, and I quote, "The people have the right to access information concerning the conduct of the people's business," unquote. Over $900,000 of taxpayer money was spent on that plan. Since you all took an oath of office to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the State of California, I am confident that you will direct your staff to follow the Constitution and to release the document so that the people can finally see that for which they paid. Second, I believe that as true patriots, you will stand by the wisdom of our nation's founding fathers regarding liberty and the freedom of information. As Patrick Henry observed, the liberties of the people never were nor will be secure when the transactions of their rulers may be concealed from them. As Thomas Jefferson rhymed, if you expect a nation to be ignorant and free, you expect what never was and never can be. The totalitarian governments of the former Soviet Union, Red China, and Nazi Germany are prime examples of this adage. They destroyed books and records in a vain attempt to restrict the fundamental freedom of thought. By contrast, in America, our freedom of information, our freedom of thought, our right to respond by speaking out and voting are among the noblest ways that our American system of government distinguishes itself from the totalitarian regimes of the 20th century. I am confident that you will direct your staff to release the Mintier General Plan because you would rather side with our nation's founding fathers than with the international despots of the most despised regimes of the 20th century. Third, in 2006, when I was last forced to submit to the county a formal written request for a public record, the Calaveras County Board of Supervisors had the wisdom to grant that request. I am confident that you will direct your staff to release the Mintier General Plan, because I believe that this Board of Supervisors is at least as wise as the 2006 Board of Supervisors. Please put this matter on your next agenda and direct your staff to release the Mintier General Plan. The people have the right to access information concerning the conduct of the people's business. If anybody in the audience would like to support this request, I have a petition for them to sign. Thank you, God bless, and happy holidays.
Thanks, Tom.
My name is Peter Race from Jenny. In the same spirit, I would like to have a board to please justify the sanctuary cities in this state and give me a reason why they have to participate and share our taxes, but like San Francisco, Sacramento, and LA. I know you can get it on the agenda, but I also would like to have a reassurance that your staff does not cooperate, support in any form or matter Planned Parenthood's unconstitutional and illegal activities concerning delivering embryos for private profit. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay. Oh,
It's me.
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. My name's Bonnie Newman. I'm from Valley Springs, and on Thanksgiving Day, as a matter of fact, I was able to get up to South Lake Tahoe and check out that asphalt plant that we've heard is, you know, like a prime example of what could be done. And I had the opportunity to interview 3 people. First, I got lost because they've closed off roads up there, and I stopped and talked to a gentleman who was chopping wood or loading wood or stacking wood, and I asked him about the asphalt plant because I couldn't find it, and he says, well, you just go down this road about a half a mile, you can't miss it. And I said, well, how long have you been here and what do you think of it? And he said, well, he don't think too much. His complaints were the noise, the smell, the dirt, and the traffic. I wasn't at the asphalt plant, so I didn't think of taking a picture of the guy, but that's what his complaints were, and he'd been there about, he said, 16 to 18 years. Next, I found the asphalt plant. I went down to where it was located, and what I found was, as the gentleman had told me, a big pile of gravel, or it looked like shards of rock. And I pulled in and I asked a lady who was walking a dog, I said, ma'am, do you live around here? Why do you want to know? Well, I just wanted to know what you thought of the asphalt plant. It's a dirty, stinking mess. And then she walked on. She wouldn't let me talk to her anymore. So then I thought, well, I'm going to hang out a little longer. And finally I met that gentleman whose picture you see up there. I don't know if his name was Doug or Russ. You want me to get that? Be careful. He'd been living there 20 years, and I asked him, and I apologize for these pictures, they don't show up very good.
They're colorful.
Hallucinogenic. I wasn't on anything, I swear. I don't think my camera was, but they turned out purple and green and gorgeous. But anyway, Doug or Russ, whatever his name was, told me he'd been there for 20 years. I said, does the asphalt plant bother you? And he said, well, when I first moved here, it did. He says, but then I got in a real bad accident, and I've had a stroke. Now I can't see too good or smell too good. Or here too good, so it don't bother me too much anymore. When I asked him, well, what happened here? And he said, I guess it was back in the 50s or 60s when they built the casinos, they scraped all the land, took all the gravel and threw it against a mountainside, and it had been there for years. And finally someone came in and said they would make a business out of it and create a gravel plant. Not a gravel plant, an asphalt plant. And he said they only run 3 months of the year in the summer, and it's during the daylight hours. And he says, of course, when the plant shuts down, all the motorcycle people go up and, drive up and down all of the hills of shards of rock. But he said, after the asphalt plant was in swing, the residents in the community objected. And if you notice in the first picture, there's a cul-de-sac, which used to be a road that went through their community. And they had to block that road off and make the traffic go out the back way to the 4-lane highway so that it didn't disturb the residents. He said that the feeling of the people in the community was that it's out on an industry road where there's only storage and diesel repair shops. And it's better over that way, although when a certain time of the year, the wind blows, you can really smell it. Now, the plant was out of production while I was there, but we could still smell the tar. And the biggest thing was the condition of the road in there that was totally destroyed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Any other public comments? Okay. We'll move on to our regular agenda. Admin?
This is just the ongoing resolution continuing the local state of emergency for the health state of emergency. It's the one that we have to renew every 2 weeks.
Okay. Public comments on that, please? Board comments?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Supervisor Ponte, a second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. And the next resolution continuing the local state of emergency.
Again, this is to continue the local state of emergency related to the Butte fire. Again, we're required to bring this back to the board for consideration every 14 days.
Okay, any public comments? Board comments?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
So I have a motion by Supervisor Kearney, second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. 5-0. Admin? Okay.
Mary Rose is going to take the next two.
Good morning, Mary Rose Rutikanga with the Administrative Office. The item before you is an agreement with United Camps, Conferences, and Retreats, UCCR, for the purpose of housing our California Conservation Corps that have been working with our Public Works Department in the Burn area. The original agreement that we had signed with Camp Lodestar up in Wilseyville to house these crews was an amount not to exceed $50,000 until November 15, 2015. It was in the CAO's authority for signing authority. It was then determined prior to November 15th that we would need to extend the cruise an additional 2 weeks. Therefore extending the lodging as well, and thus pushing the amount of the lodging over the $50,000 threshold that is in the CAO's authority. So this item is requesting the board to approve an agreement with UCCR for the lodging to house our CCC crews up until November 29th, at which time Camp Lodestar will not be available to use for our CCC crews. We are requesting the amount not to exceed $75,000. The monies will come from our Butte Fire Fund, which are partial reimbursement through our FEMA Public Assistance and CDAA funds, with the county cost share of the 6.25%.
Okay, any public comments on this? Board comments?
Do we see the crews being extended out past this time?
It has been requested from the Public Works Director that we do extend them out. We are trying to locate an additional area for them to lodge. So right now, that is our biggest hurdle in trying to find an area for 60 persons to lodge these crews. So we're looking at additional camps throughout the county to lodge them.
So this one, they can't stay there?
Yeah, they've been there a total of 4 weeks, and they have prior engagements for those camps.
It is an active camp.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I would second.
are we gonna actively look, though, to keep these crews here longer?
Yes, we are in the moment looking at just 2-week extensions. We're trying to get a work plan to see how we are best utilizing those crews into the future. It is costing, the total cost right now for those 4 weeks was $75,000. And so we are also paying their salaries as well. So we're trying to look at all the cost benefit of housing the crews, paying for the crews, and what that is looking in the long term.
Is this the total cost of having a cruise, or just the
No,
housing?
no, sir, it's not. This is just the 4 weeks for the lodging at Camp Lodestar. In addition to the lodging of Camp Lodestar, we did pay the shower and laundry facility cost for them to be a week at our Mountain Ranch Community Park. And then we are also looking at their salary costs as well.
And all of that, though, how much of that is covered under the reimbursement?
Well, we had requested from the director to have the original 2 weeks of the CC Creek cruise to be, the salaries to be reimbursed fully. However, the additional costs, our total cost share would be the 6.25% of the lodging and the additional costs.
Okay. All right. And Public Works feels that they need the CCC crews longer?
Yes, I have heard from Mr. Jeff Krovitz that he is requesting an additional 2 weeks. I am actually in the works with the CCC crews in their Sacramento office to develop some sort of a work plan so we can go forth with any specific work that Mr. Krovitz has for the crews. So we're looking at all of that at the moment.
All right. Okay. So I have a motion by Supervisor Ponte, right? And a second by Supervisor Ponte. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Okay, number 6, go ahead.
Mary Rose Rutikanga again with the Administrative Office. The next item we have on the agenda is a letter that the Administrative Office has drafted addressed to Senator Berryhill and Assemblymember Bigelow requesting special legislation addressing the financial impacts of the Butte fire. The county is requesting legislation addressing 2 specific established state practices. We are requesting that the legislature amend Revenue and Taxation Code 195, 218, 17207, 24347.5. These codes have been amended in previous declared disasters to provide appropriation of state monies to local taxing entities suffering from the loss of property tax revenue. We're anticipating that the total structural damage is over $51 million of property loss, and the county share of that 1% would be over $539,000. So we are requesting that the state provide a property tax backfill for 3 fiscal years, in fiscal year 15-16, 16-17, and 17-18. We anticipate that within those 3 years of the backfill of those property tax would likely be less than $2 million. We're also asking that the state amend Government Code Section 8686B, and this section pertains to including Calaveras County in the list of disasters in which the local cost share is waived under the California Disaster Assistance Act, or CDAA. We have brought forth over numerous agenda items to the board stating that the county's cost share under CDAA is the 6.25%. We have estimated in conjunction with the auditor's office that our total project cost for Butte Fire would be somewhere around $10.7 million. The county's cost share of that would be over $650,000, thus having to dip into our reserves to pay for that cost share. It was an established practice prior to 2006 for the state to waive the local cost share. However, since the recession, that hasn't really been acted upon. So in supporting this letter and approving this letter, we are actually joining Lake County, who last week sent a letter and was approved by their Board of Supervisors addressing these 2 specific programs, amending the revenue and taxation codes, and also the government code waiving the local cost share.
Okay. Any public comments?
I have a quick question, and I kind of missed the last time because I was looking something up. The idea of getting state money, great, for this emergency. But as far as giving shelter to these volunteers coming into this county, has anybody looked at what kind of shape the old jail is? Is any possibly, at what cost would it take to make it a temporary emergency shelter for some of these volunteers? I don't know what the capacity is, but we do have a whole bunch of empty spaces nearby here, beside the courtroom and so on. But some of those folks might, for temporarily, could use some of this state money to convert it to some temporary shelter for some of these folks.
So that one, I'm going to bring this up in comments afterwards.
Okay.
That this is about, we need to stay on track with the agenda.
Okay. So, but, yeah, send a letter to Berry Hill and Bigelow. Remind them that Calaveras County does exist. Give them a map, show them what is this county is. Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments? Board comments?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Mary Rose, where do these dollar amounts come from for us? The 54 million mentioned, is that something related to the assessor's office, or?
Yes, and in drafting this letter, we've worked with the auditor's office and the assessor's office to come up based off of the structures destroyed. So if you noticed in the letter, the 51 million is for of destroyed structures with an additional 2.7 million in land loss. But that does not include special assessments, losses to damaged but not destroyed properties. And also it does not include any additional costs we would incur for our debt service on voter bond measures. So these were estimates that were looking at the total, property assessed based on how many properties were just destroyed. That would be the loss.
Okay. And then also, when you talk about what the county projection is for money, is special districts considered in that as well?
Yes, so that would be the total 1%. So the 1% that comes back to the overall county-wide special districts and other local taxing entities, so school districts as well.
Okay, all right. That's all I have.
Anybody else?
No, thank you for doing this. It's excellent work.
I'd like to thank Rebecca Callan, too, for pushing it so hard.
Yeah.
So, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept and proceed with the letter.
I'll second.
All right, so I've got a motion by Supervisor Oliveira and a second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again.
thank you.
Thank you.
Staff?
Board announcements.
I have nothing to report
Okay.
today.
I did attend several meetings this past week, one with the Snowshoe Springs Homeowner Association to discuss their conditions of their roads. As a result of that meeting, I had a short meeting this morning with Director Krovitz, and looking at our timeline, we'll be able to at least put that on the list of repairs, although due to the fire recovery efforts, we were not going to be able to get anything effectively done probably for the next year or 2 years. But we are on the list for work there. I am meeting with the Forest Meadows Homeowner Association on a couple of issues. Once again, these are public works issues. They are concerned with only one way in and out of their planned development. There is some discussion about improving a road, county improvements on that road to make another exit out of that development should there be another catastrophe like a forest fire or something of that nature. Second issue I'm going to be discussing them with is the Verizon tower that is being applied for now by Verizon. They show some concern on the design, and we're going to be discussing that at that meeting. I will be attending the Friday after Thanksgiving our Christmas White Pines Parade of Lights first event, and that just exploded. It's just a great deal. We have over 45 business sponsors for it, 32 floats. First time we've ever done it. We plan on making it an event, and it's bringing the communities of White Pines and Arnold back together. There was kind of a separation there, indicated by a sign that says, "This is not Arnold, this is White Pines." So maybe we can decorate that sign. And lastly, I do have to apologize. I did make a presentation on Veterans Day at the Murphy's Veterans Memorial, and I opened those ceremonies, and I did fail to mention, after listing the wars and honoring the veterans there, I failed to mention the Korean War. And I have to publicly apologize for that, seeing my stepfather was a veteran of the Korean War, and I'm sure he's going to pay my due respects for that. Thank you.
Steve?
I attended the VSABA luncheon last week. That was a very good presentation by Kathy Topel from Common Ground regarding seniors and our issues that we have helping and assisting them. Also had a great meeting with John Lawless from our mental health department. Helped us understand a few of the things that we've been voting on lately, and they involve huge expenditures, so I think it's important that going forward we may bend his ear even more. Last Thursday, met with Steve Hollenbeck from Public Works and my CSA 1 road committee. 2 of the members showed up and got a much better understanding of how to look at the facts and the figures that go along with the CSA committee. It's somewhat complicated looking from the outside in, and thanks to Engineer Hollenbeck for helping us out. Going forward, I think we're going to be able to keep the roads up in Rancho Calaveras just a little bit better because of that. On Friday, I attended a Commission on Aging meeting. It was a very good meeting, and afterwards, stayed for another half hour to talk to a couple of people that had some good thoughts to share with me. In the near future, the chair of the Commission on Aging, Phil Sherwood, is going to be here and bring us up to date on some of the things that they've observed and dealt with during the Butte Fire that relate to our senior citizens. Each time I'm not officially assigned to this group, but I'm kind of a de facto member, and I thank them for letting me sit in with them because each time's a learning experience. Really appreciate it, and beyond that, everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
Great. Chris?
Well, I do think that Tom Infacino brought up a good point about the Mintier plan. We did spend a lot of money on it, and so I'd like to see if you guys want to bring that up at all to talk about on that agenda. I mean, it might be useful to have out in the public, see what's in there. I mean, seems like it's public money, should be a public document, so I wouldn't mind talking about it on the agenda, if you guys do.
Well, I don't see the advantage of going backwards. So, you know, if it's if our planning director wishes to share that and somebody requests it, or if he is requested and it's legally able to share, then that would be up to an individual to do that. So,
I'd like to discuss it though, as a, you know, because we are developing the general plan, and we did spend a lot of money on it, so I don't feel it's going backwards. I think it's going forward, to look at what we've developed and what we've spent money on, and how that compares to the plan that we are developing. I mean, why spend that much money on something if we're never going to see it?
we spent a lot of money on the past 8 years, and we're trying not to do that again.
I'd like to hear our county council.
Yeah, so would I.
I don't want to get into a discussion about this. At this point, it would just be polling to see if the board wants staff to agendize something for further discussion. But the way I see it at this point is that a Public Records Act request is being made, and that will be forwarded to our office. Our office can review it and respond accordingly.
So we have a procedure to take care of that
Certainly.
request.
So my personal opinion is, I'd rather hear the results of that before I invest in it.
I can ask that my office, whenever we respond to the request, that the request be CC'd to the board as well, so the board knows the response.
Sure.
Thank you,
And
Council.
at that point, if
That'd
it
be great.
needs to be agendized, then we can do it. If not, then
Yep. And then I'd just like to say, you know, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And, I'm very thankful for, you know, being here and being alive and well, and just, you know, thankful for everything. So hopefully you guys will, everybody out in the audience, will have also a good Thanksgiving.
okay. So last week I went to the 1226 intersection and was there with the engineer and was looking around, and there is a couple of issues with it that I brought up. One is there's a right in front of where the flooring store used to be. They put an island out there, and I mean, it looks nice. If you go into that parking lot area, everything is slanted one way, and then there's an arrow sign, a sign with an arrow that directs traffic basically into a private alley. We can't do that. That's private property. So I asked Public Works to check into that. They are. I also asked that if we can, you know, make the islands function the way that it functioned before and have an exit on that one side because of the deliveries and things for the businesses there. It makes it much easier for them to deliver in front of the building, right, you know, especially the mailbox store. And so I made a formal request to have Public Works check that out. Other than that, the intersection seems to be working fine. I am going to meet with each of the business owners on that intersection area and talk to them about putting together, because I want to put together a committee to put together some kind of a plan that would make improvements to what you might consider a historical Valley Springs downtown area. And so as soon as I talk to the business owners and get their input, and if they buy in on it, then I'll be putting out a request to start having meetings on that and see what we can come up with and, you know, start moving forward with that. Housing and CAL FIRE, or housing and CCC. We have CAL FIRE here, and I'm not sure how full it is, but that could be a possibility for housing and CCC crews as well. So I'd like to check into that.
CAL FIRE has extended fire season, and so all the stations are ramped up.
Yeah, but I also know that it's not full over here.
Where?
Over here in San Andreas.
Okay.
Supervisor Edson, Ryan Moss, Administrative Office. I want to say that we did check into that early on, and CAL FIRE did not have the room, is what they told us. We can check into that again, but we did look into that.
Okay. So, in my opinion, if our Public Works Director thinks that we need the crews longer, then we need them longer, because we have some very severe erosion control issues that they've been working on. The Mountain Ranch area is, there's a lot of people out there that are frightened because of the debris flows and the water flows. And if we can at all prevent us being into a reactionary mode because of an emergency and do a little bit of proactive engagement to try to reduce that, then that's what we need to do. So.
We agree with that. Just so you know, one of the things we were looking at yesterday, I don't know where we are as of the moment, but there are other organized camps in the county. Lodestar is but one. And so there are a couple of other organized camps we can look into as far as housing. And again, it's just availability, so that is something the administrative office is working on, just so you know that. Because that actually really makes the most sense from what we can tell.
Oh, yeah. Because it'll make the most dollars when we have to react to it. So we spend cents now and save dollars.
Right.
So the cleanup, as of last week, the lot cleanup is, on Thursday, I think they reported over 100 lots cleared. They have up to 30 crews out there right now. And that's about 400 people working on it. So how many vehicles? They said about 240, I think. 240 trucks out there, and then plus the pieces of equipment. And I've heard pros and cons from people about the courtesy of the drivers and that sort of thing. Mostly, people think that the truck drivers are being very courteous, and the crews, and so we certainly appreciate that. They're moving about as fast as they can. I know that. They moved their what do you call it? What's it called? Their base camp, basically. They moved it over here to the Budweiser building on Thursday night, and I did not realize myself, as much as I've been involved in this, what an effort that goes into coordinating all this stuff. So I walked in there, and pretty much had it all explained to me, and it's unbelievable how coordinated those folks are. They are, in my opinion, they're doing an outstanding job. It's like kind of like a war room, actually. It reminds me of when CAL FIRE was up the fairgrounds and they had their center there, only more consolidated and more detailed, because these people are dealing with individual properties. They're also dealing with right of entry, files on, all these properties, and many other multiple issues. And so my hat's off to them. I understand that they're going to be taking Thanksgiving off for a few days, and then it begin again, I think on Monday, right, Brian? So for Thanksgiving, they'll be off until Monday, and then starting again Monday. They're saying about 20% of the lots that they've cleared are not coming back clean with the testing. But what they've done is they've found they've noticed some things that would help with that. And there are things that, that we don't think about, like the older buildings with lead paint getting into the foundations and that sort of thing. So they've learned how to deal with that, and their percentage of that is probably going to improve tremendously now that they've identified some of that stuff. So it's really important to let these folks do their job. December meetings, let's talk about that. Through January, right?
Currently, with the schedule that we have gone to with weekly meetings, we don't know whether the board wants to continue that through December with all the holidays. However, we are required to renew the local health emergency every 14 days, which would require meetings on December 8th, December 22nd, and January 5th. So does the board just want to meet those 3 days, or is it the board's desire to also meet the 15th and the 29th? And the 1st. I'm sorry, the 1st, the 15th, and the 29th.
Can you say the days you proposed again?
At a minimum, the board needs to meet in order to renew the local emergencies are December 8th, December 22nd, and January 5th. The question is, do you also want to continue having the weekly meetings and have them on December 1st, December 15th, and December 29th as well?
So personally, I like the 8th, 22nd, and the 5th.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
I'd go for that. I would not be able to attend the December 1st meeting due to the fact I'll be on county business with CSAC.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, I'm fine with it.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right.
Then we always schedule the meetings accordingly. Thank you.
8th, 22nd, and the 5th, right?
8th, 22nd, and January 5th.
Thank you.
Great. Do I have any other comments from staff?
Not for me.
Anybody else? Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, I guess